In our last video, we talked about individual kitchen cabinetry units. In this video, I want to give some tips and tricks of how to best put them together and some common errors that you should watch out for. So we're going to reach back into our interior design skills and talk about the elements and principles of interior design, starting with symmetry, how to apply symmetry to your kitchen design, and talk about some functionality rules of thumb. Then a couple of the common issues you should watch out for, including the molding or the trim, and also some clearance issues. So let's start out by saying that overall, you want to keep an eye on the size of your cabinet doors and drawers and keep it roughly consistent throughout the kitchen. You don't want one section with very wide cabinet doors and the other with a series of small, narrow ones. All right. Also, good kitchen design uses a lot of symmetry, and it very often is symmetry about the sink and about the range. So here's an example here of a very symmetrical design about that center farmhouse sink. It's got some same size, same design wall cabinets on either side. And let's keep an eye on keeping our kitchen functional for our clients. All cabinet doors should open in the direction that the client will want to use them and that it will feel natural and easy to use them. You need to especially watch out for wall cabinets on the ends near the sink and the range, like right here next to the range and on the ends of runs, especially next to the wall. Never open your cabinet towards the wall. You're always going to want to have your hinge end next to the wall and not the latch end. Don't design any one cabinet too small. Your minimum should be about 9-inch wide for a shelf and 15 inches for a drawer. You can probably order them smaller, but you probably shouldn't. All right. And the last one, watch out for manufacturers who put a center stile in the middle of your wall cabinets. All right, if you've got a wall cabinet with 2 doors, you want that to remain free and open for your client to put larger items in. It's fairly common for some manufacturers to put a center stile for stability in some of the larger units. In the last video, we talked about a bunch of different ways to access the corners of your kitchens, whether it be in the base cabinets or in the wall cabinets. And so let's just hammer this point home for corner cabinets. Choose accessories that's going to help your clients utilize their space and make it easier for them to access items. That might be some kind of pull-out shelf, tray. There's a lot of different choices. Okay, let's move on to some common issues or problems. And the first one I want to talk about is with the molding. And what I'm talking about here when I say molding is this piece of trim. This is crown molding. It's up at the top, up next to the ceiling. There's several different types of molding, but you tend to run into the most trouble with the crown molding. What students and inexperienced designers tend to forget is that those moldings are three-dimensional, and as they turn the corner, they're going to interact in ways that you can't see when you draw a two-dimensional interior elevation. So what you want to keep in mind is that there is a projection out from the wall with these moldings. And take a look, here is one that is done incorrectly. Someone forgot to take into account how this molding was going to intersect with this cabinet as it came across, okay, because the molding came out horizontally when they weren't expecting it. And they also forgot to consider how this intersection, whatever this intersection is, works in 3 dimensions. Okay, so keep it in the back of your mind. Molding, it's 3 dimensional, and you can run into trouble when you don't think about how it comes out horizontally from the wall. Let's talk about fillers next. Fillers are a panel usually at the end of a run of cabinets against the wall, and they provide a lot of flexibility to your cabinet designs. Watch out, not all walls, in fact, most walls, are built straight. Okay, so they might be a little wiggly, they might be a little bit angled, and fillers are how we take care of that. They also can provide the clearances needed for door and drawers to be able to fully open. So here's one issue. This oven door right here may run into this refrigerator handle and freezer handle as it opens. And we would fix that issue by specifying a larger filler, kind of sliding your design off to the left here a little bit. And it's important to note that you need to read your appliance specs carefully. In this case, it's the refrigerator appliance specs that we need to know, and how deep is that handle? On a similar note, let's make sure that all of our cabinet doors can fully open to the 90-degree position without their handles hitting something, and that your drawers can fully open even when, in this case, the hardware has been added. Pay close attention to your cabinet clearances, and corners can be a tricky spot. So we've mentioned that you need to read your appliance specs. Yes, yes. It's important that you select all of your appliances before your cabinet design is fully specified. And one reason for that is that your appliances are installed inside your cabinets. And there are 2 ways to do this, especially for your wall ovens like this one. There's a standard installation and a flush installation. And you can see by comparing these 2 pictures, here's a standard installation where it sits proud of the line of the cabinet, that if you're going for a frameless or a full overlay look, um, then you might really like that flush installation. Why do we need to know this before we fully specify the cabinets? Because there is a big difference between these 2 installations in the size requirements. All right, it needs a deeper, wider, and higher opening in that cabinet than the standard installation did. Another clearance issue that sometimes catches designers unaware is window and door trim. So windows and doors will have a trim or casing around them. You need to find out what widths they're going to be if they're not there already, and allow for clearance and then some extra clearance. I would prefer that you see, 1.5 inches, 2 inches between your door trim and your cabinet, just to give it a little bit of breathing room. And here's a picture of kind of a fail. All right, somebody didn't think of this when they were designing this cabinet. As you can see, this cabinet is exactly the width between the wall and this trim. And then look, the nosing of the countertop has been cut into the trim. All right, and that happens here too. Here's the wall cabinet, and then it's got a little molding at the bottom, and that has been cut into the door trim. All right, so give it a little extra room, give it some breathing space, and remember about those trims. So those were some cabinetry tips and tricks and maybe some pitfalls you want to stay away from. In our next video, let's talk about cabinet nomenclature.